Hey guys, today I wanted to cover abilities a little bit. We're not going to go through all the later abilities, but we're just going to cover Kiai and Dodge. We talked about Kick previously, and the kind of core basic ability loadout that you get in the arena, that you get in katas, that's kind of called the pure loadout, is just these first three abilities: Kick, Kiai, and the basic Dodge. And you can see Kiai here has an upgrade slot, so there's additional abilities that you can slot in that augment your Kiai. But at a very basic level, Kiai, you can only use while you're charging attack. You tap the Kiai button, which defaults to R, and it'll instantly charge your attack to full, and your character kind of does a shout to, warn your opponent that the Kiai happened. And dodge dashes directly backwards. You don't get any iframes, so you actually have to get your full body out of the way, so you have to use it fairly early, and it cancels whatever you were doing at the time. So Kiai is the one I want to talk about the most because Kiai really drives some of the mechanics that we talked about previously about initiative. Probably the most important thing for initiative is riposte, and the second most is Kiai. And so, we talked previously about how whoever has the most attack charge is going to do the most damage if both players released a swing. And so from a kind of theoretical standpoint, if me and my opponent are both charging attacks at each other and he has more charge than I do, I can't really release my attack because if he released his also, he'd hit me harder. And Kiai lets you kind of leapfrog someone who has more attack charge than you if you both start charging, because your attack meter goes to full immediately. So you can think of Kiai as, it has a 10-second cooldown, so you can't just go spamming it, but it gives you specific time windows to take initiative. And there's a few really important uses for that. So one is that when I'm fainting, here I'm fainting up, left, up, right. If I faint, I reset my charge meter. So if we watch this guy, he'll block. Then when I faint, by the time my attack's full, he's going to be blocking the right way again most of the time. Oh, he's Kiai me. We'll wait for the next cooldown. But if after the faint, if I Kiai my next swing, then I can do a very threatening, quick attack, hopefully before he has time to correct his block. So let me wait for my riposte timeout. All right. So we'll let him block that, and I'll feint into the other direction. I handle hit, but that got there before he had time, and if I had hit with my blade, that would be a good, 40 plus damage. These NPCs use their Kiai, and their code is basically to use it on cooldown if the opponent is not currently blocking the proper way, and that's not a terrible basic strategy. You got that one. At a higher level, you do have to start worrying a little bit about, when you use your Kiai and it goes on cooldown, your opponent is going to know that you have less threat and potentially react. Some other really basic usages for Kiai is you can kind of use it to make sure you get really good damage off a kick. So if I kick and miss my combo, I can save it with a Kiai there and make sure I get a big hit. So 70 is the max you can do in the arena, so I hit 69. And then the Kiai upgrades, expand on this. So the Kiai upgrades modify what your Kiai hits do. So there's one that makes it do double damage, but you stun yourself if they block it. There's one that makes it interrupt your opponent. And there's one that gives you cleave, so you can hit through multiple players. So that is Kiai. Next, let's talk about dodge. So dodge, I was a little late on it. Dodge dashes directly backwards, and it doesn't have any iframes, so you really need to be out of the way of their sword. And dodge has kind of two main uses. One is to, evade a swing and induce your opponent to miss. So when I block, here, let's have him block me. When I block, you can see my cursor comes back pretty quick, and I can take another action. When you swing and miss, over here, you can see my cursor's gone for a while, and I can't do anything that whole time. So if your opponent swings and misses, and you're fairly close, you can step up and punish them. So what you can do is I can use a dodge to induce a miss like that. I handle hit, and then step up and punish them after it. So that's one really good use of dodge. Then the other, we'll try demoing that one more time. Back up, swing and miss, Kiai hit. The other good use of dodge is, you can only block one direction at a time, so blocking multiple opponents is pretty tricky, and I'll talk about that in a future video. It really comes down to good footwork and good timing, but it's hard, whereas dodging is a good way to get out of the way of two opponents at once. So dodging becomes very useful in non 1v1 situations in particular. There's not dodge upgrades in game currently, although I am considering adding both dodge and kick upgrades, but there are alternate dodge abilities. So there's other abilities you can slot into the dodge slot. One is a blink that goes whatever direction you're moving. So instead of dashing backwards, you can go any direction, and it's a teleport. And one is you root yourself and turn into an ice statue, basically, and you're just damage immune the whole time, so you can't move, but you can't be hit. So yeah, I think that is dodge and Kiai in a nutshell. Dodge, swing and miss, punish. The NPCs are pretty bad in reacting to dodge. I kind of have on my to-do list to make them a little smarter about it at the higher levels, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. So you can get swings and misses pretty easily versus the NPCs with dodge. Versus a player, it's a little harder. They're gonna catch on if you're dodging after every time they get a riposte. So I'll leave this video here. That is it, and thanks for watching.